Please state your name.
Ryland Grace. I just woke up from a coma. I'm several light years from my apartment. And I'm not an astronaut. I'm not an astronaut. I'm not an astronaut.
If you don't go, you die. With the rest of us.
The sun
Is dying. You are the only scientist who might know what this says.
I'm just a teacher at Grover Cleveland Middle.
You have a doctorate in molecular biology. I need you to come with us. This is Project Hail Mary. The sun is not the only star dying. Every star was infected by its neighbor, except one.
Why?
Which is why we built a ship to go there and find out.
It's 11.9 light years away. The astronauts die in space.
It's what you Americans would call a long shot.
Hail Mary. I get it. Who on earth is going to sign up for this?
If we do nothing, everything on this planet will go extinct.
You'll find a solution.
You are my solution.
I put the not in astronaut. I've never done anything. I've never done a space. I can't even moonwalk. I understand the stakes. I do. My place is in the classroom.
The world is counting on you.
This might be very hard for you to understand. But some people are not good at things.
You know who you are. You're gonna do great.
I conquered zero G in 5 hours. Yeah!
Object approaching.
Oh my God. So, I met an alien. He's kind of growing on me. At least he's not growing in me, you know, which was a concern for a little while. I'm Grace. I'm gonna call you Rocky. Thumbs up. No, that's thumbs down. You would do the thumbs up. It's close enough.
Every day I'm gonna be watching, and the same day I'm gonna be talking about a movie I've never ever seen. Some I'll be watching on my laptop, some on my tablet, some on my TV, and some of them I'll see on the big screen. Yeah, it's movie month time. What a way to make a podcast. Yes, it's all month long. From the 1st of June to the last, I will watch a film and then I will talk about it. It's 30 movie days of fun, 'cause there is no June 31. Yeah. Happy Monday, everybody. Let the music calm you. Let it all come over you. Oh. It is Monday, June 29th. And you mofos know what that means. That means for the 29th day in a row, I watched a movie I've never seen before. And for the 29th day in a row, I'm here podcasting about it to each and every one of you. I am on a high right now. I am on a high because I finally saw a movie that I have been itching to see for some time now. It was in March that Project Hail Mary was released to all of Earth, and I never had a chance to go see it. My wife got to go see it with her students from her school as a field trip. But does my work have a field trip to go to the movies? Well, we have in the past, but not in the last many, many, many years. And I have been wanting to see this movie since I saw the first trailer for it. So I think I was looking up some dates on a few things. I don't think I saw the trailer for this until my wife and I went to see Superman, which was at the beginning of July. I believe I knew it was happening. I knew about that it was a book by the author of The Martian, Andy Weir, and I think I already owned the book and had it on my Kindle. And I don't think it was until seeing that I said, oh, I need to read this. This is going to be my next book. And I proceeded to read it. And I know that for a fact, the dates I read it, because it's on my Goodreads. So I saw Superman in, I think, July 11th or around that area, somewhere around that. I started reading the book on July 15th. And books, they take a while for me sometimes. But this one, I'll say it was relatively quick. And by that, I mean it took me 2 weeks. That's pretty quick. And I just remember reading this book and loving it and going on and on about, like, if anyone asked, this was my favorite book of the year, even though this book came out, a couple of years earlier. Like the original Project Hail Mary book came out in 2021. I read it in 2025, but it was still my favorite book of that year. And I don't know if I think it picked up steam because people saw it was being made into a movie. There was a certain point where everything on TikTok, or at least my algorithm, was showing me people, this is the book to read, this is the book to read, this is the book to read. But I was already reading it. So I was like, yes, I know this already. And people were loving the audiobook, but I don't do audiobooks. I like to read the books that I read. And audio is, for me, for podcasts and shows like that. That's just the way I roll. Because I feel like if I'm reading an audiobook, I'm like, well, what if I wanted to read this book? Like I wanted to read it, and almost feel like I'm taking away from the reading part of books. So that's, you want to read an audiobook or listen to an audiobook, great. And people were gushing over this one. But for me, I just, read the book, and everything was in my head, and the monster or the creature and the alien. I knew the story, and I remembered about 90% of the story as I watched this movie today. There were a few things where I said, wait a second, like, I don't remember there being a voice. Am I crazy, or did they not personify Rocky with a voice? It was always text on a screen. Am I crazy? I don't remember. But of course, for a movie, they have to make little shortcuts, but they have to quicken up the science, because the science in this is astounding in the book. There's a lot going on, and I'm like, okay, Andy, I believe you. I believe everything that Dr. Grace is doing, and I believe everything that Rocky's doing, and this all seems very real and palatable. And I probably got very little of it, but I understood at least what was happening. And the real story, of course, is the characters, and it's Grace and Rocky and them saving the universe together. Obviously, if you haven't seen this movie yet or read the book and don't want to know anything, you shouldn't be listening to this, but thank you for the download anyway. I'll wait and go, you can go listen or go watch it. It is available now on MGM Plus. And yes, I'm like, what the hell is MGM Plus? Though it is my second MGM Plus movie this year. I believe The Long Walk was the other one. And I was able to log in through our Verizon account so I didn't have to pay anything extra for this movie. But I feel like I would have, and I should have, because I loved the book. The book left me a blubbering mess at the end. The final moments, the final scene, and the tears were real. And it just was like, I was I was happy how it ended, and I was sad that it was over for me. So not to jump ahead, but to see that, to make sure that they built that ending into this. I was like, because I was like, wait a minute, there's not many minutes left. We have the credits. You know, are they not going to do that? They don't have to do that. Are they not going to, show us where he is now? And they did. They showed the ending, and I just was like, it warmed my heart. It made me feel emotional. It made me feel things. It didn't make me. I knew it was coming, so maybe if I didn't know it was coming, it would have hit me more, like it did when reading the book. So I think at this point, I obviously knew it was Ryan Gosling, so I must have been picturing him the whole time. And for some reason, I think I pictured Rocky more spidery. I don't know why, but he's Rocky. Obviously, he was named Rocky, and he looks Rocky, right? I look, I know I miss some things, or I picture things, and when they don't line up exactly, now they will. Now everything will always be the visuals of this movie. But it's funny sometimes when I see a movie for a book that I've read first, you're like, oh, okay, that's how they pictured it. That's how they viewed it. It's not how I viewed it, which is what I love about books, is because before the movie, everybody who ever read this book pictured something different. Even if you knew it was Ryan Gosling, you pictured something different. Something was unique to your reading experience. And when you see the movie, now maybe that is not tainted, but that's been kind of persuaded or whatever, going forward. Now you're going to picture things from the movie, but no one can take away that first time reading something. I think of The Hobbit, growing up, when I read The Hobbit, I think I pictured the cartoon version of The Hobbit. Now maybe I would picture the film version with these characters. It's the same thing. Like, the book obviously changes how you feel about or how you visualize things, but nothing takes away that first experience that is wholly unique to you when you read something that, doesn't already have an established visual, visual version. So this movie was just perfect. It hit everything for me with the characters. Ryan Gosling, I mean, the guy can do nothing wrong. I feel like at this point his Star Wars movie might save Star Wars. I don't know. I mean, Mandalorian Grogu, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't, it didn't shift the universe of Star Wars film. But Starfighter might. You never know. And it's almost like, oh, he's in it. Oh, then I'm trusting that it's going to be good. It's going to be high quality. I'm going to enjoy it because, God damn it, I love this guy. This is my fifth Gosling movie month movie. I think I'd have to double check, but I think there's five. They started with The Nice Guys, where he was spectacular. Blade Runner 2049, where he was, I like that movie. He was great in it always. Barbie, he was incredible in that. And The Fall Guy, which, it didn't do very well, but he was friggin' great in that too. So he is just, what I like about him is he isn't too cool to look like an idiot. And when you see him on SNL or whatever, he has a pretty great sense of humor and self-deprecation and comedic chops. He just does. And I don't think I knew that until The Nice Guys, which, if you haven't seen that, I mean, let's go watch that right now. So you have him, which 90% of his time, what's nice is it's not just him alone. But most of the movie is him acting opposite a puppet, and he was excellent, and the puppet was excellent. I don't like the voice of the puppet. I don't know this guy James Ortiz, but I believe he actually is the puppet. He operated the puppet and did the voice for Rocky. James Ortiz, like, what else has this guy been in? What else has he done? He's a puppeteer.
Like, he is a world-class puppeteer. If I look up other movies, I don't know. I don't know any of these other things. And that the fact is, Lord and Miller must have seen this guy and said, he's the guy. We need someone, with the chops that can control this. We don't need a star, a name. We need a master puppeteer. And that's what they got with this guy. And the voice. I loved how they did a whole thing with choosing the voice, which is the right voice. And there was a moment of Meryl Streep and Ryan Gosling's like, or I should say, Ryland Grace is like, oh, she can do anything. Like they almost made her. She was an offered voice for this voice control, this voice synthesizer, you know what I mean? Voice making machine that gave Rocky his voice. You got the two of them are most of this movie. Then you have Sandra Hüller, who I do not know from anything, but she was in Anatomy of a Fall. Okay, that was a big movie a couple of years ago. She had to kind of carry the opposite side of Grace, where she's like, this is how it has to be. She has to be like the boss, for lack of a better word. Now, I think I saw that actress in the trailer, and I think when I pictured her while reading the book, I didn't know who this actress was, so I think I pictured the actress who played Shiv on Succession. Very similar looking, but not the same person. And but this, I feel like I'm gonna do very badly in giving a proper review, because I'm just overwhelmed with how much I love this movie. And I just finished about 20 minutes ago, and I am here already talking to you guys like as quickly as I can. I'm going to fight through the yawns because it's already 10:15. No, it's already 20 past 10. I didn't even have that right. So I'm going. So you got Lord and Miller as the directors. Now they're famous for directing the Lego Movie. They directed the 21 and 22 Jump Street movies. Then they went on to do the Lego Movie, and then they didn't do anything for a little while. Well, I mean, I'll get into that a little bit. But I think before Project Hail Mary, their last directed movie. Wait, I'm pulling it up on the IMDb base. Their last directed movie before Project Hail Mary was, oh my goodness gracious, am I correct? It was 22 Jump Street, 12 years prior. So what makes these people, these two guys who did 21 Jump Street, the Lego Movie, 22 Jump Street, then they directed a couple episodes of TV, or at least Lord did. I'm assuming they directed everything together. What, or why I should say, what did it take so long between movies? And there's one name, and that name is Han Solo. Yes, Lord and Miller came in to direct the Han Solo movie, Han Solo. And while filming, Lucasfilm said, nope, sorry, let's give it to Ron Howard to finish. And so I don't know what they were making. I don't know if they were making something spectacular. And so the Star Wars people were like, this is too spectacular. This is not what we want. We want Star Wars, not something that's really, really great. No offense to Star Wars, but I love Ron Howard, but he was kind of probably put in a situation where like, okay, I'm just going to deliver what you need me to deliver, or what you want me to deliver. Where I have a feeling whatever Lord and Miller were doing was probably going to be better. Okay. So then they're handed this. And now I could be wrong. I may not have the full story, but they're handed this movie, this big budget movie, and they absolutely deliver not only on the characters and the acting, which is the most important part of this movie, is to make sure that you can make a astronaut and a puppet spider, alien work as a believable team. A believable friends, like it just, and they effing did it. That's right, effing did it. This movie had a budget of, what did it have? A budget of $248 million on the budget. Is that what it was? And it made over $683 million. So yes, they freaking deliver. That's right. I'm using the F word. I'm using every F word in the book. I mean, at this point, if you don't know what the movie's about, so Ryan Gosling is a junior high teacher, grammar school teacher, science teacher. And we learned through his classroom that everyone in the world knows that there's something, these dots that are out there in the solar system that seem to be taking energy away from the sun. And it's not really causing any issues now, but in 30 years, it'll probably make the sun weak enough to basically kill all the crops in the world. And, if everyone worked together, maybe we'd only lose half the population in 30 years. But obviously, we've seen this world, right? That's a big ask. So all the world scientists work together it's much more involved, obviously, in the book, the planning and everything. All the world scientists have an idea that they found another star, a star that is also dealing with these dots, which they call astrophage. And the problem is but the issue is that sun is not having the issue with energy being taken from them. Why is that? Well, they have an idea to send a group of astronauts and a scientist to that solar system to find out and to send information back. It's a one-way trip. It's going to take years to get there. And did they say, was it 11 years? Is that how long he said he was gone? They're going to be, put on ice in hibernation mode. They're going to get there, and hopefully they're going to figure it out. They don't quite know, but hopefully they're going to figure it out. And it's called the project. It's a Hail Mary. That's if you don't know in sports, the Hail Mary is like, one last shot, one last chance. Hope, throw a ball up, hopefully it works, and that's why they're calling it Project Hail Mary. So the head of this team, which is the woman that's played by Sandra Hüller, she shows up in his school, in Ryan Gosling's school, in Ryland Grace's school, and says, "Oh, Mr. Grace, are you the person who wrote this paper?" She's not French, and neither was that accent. And it's a paper that is saying, can life not exist without water? Can life exist without water? And he had this whole, theory that it can, and he was kind of disgraced for that. So now he is a science teacher. And they're like, basically, we think we want you to prove this because we think we know we need you to come in and work on this science project. They bring him in to work on the astrophage, what they're calling the dots at that point. They bring him in. He starts working on it. We get a long kind of segment of him testing with things. It's involved in the book, and he figures out how these things die. He figures out what they're made of, which includes water, which kind of threw him for a loop. He figures out how to breed them. And he figures out that they emit amazing energy. And they're like, "Oh, good. Can you make 2 million of them?" They're like, "What for?" "We're building a rocket ship and we're shooting it out there to see." He's like, "That is crazy." They're like, "Yeah, that's why we're calling it Project Hail Mary." He's like, "Oh, wow." And here's the team. And it shows the astronauts and a science team. And that's great. But all this is being told in flashback because the movie starts with Ryland Grace waking up on this ship, having no idea what he's doing, why he's there. And in the book, it goes back and forth, much like in the movie. It goes back and forth, and he kind of picks up memories along the way. And a lot of the time, it's whatever flashback we have, that's the memory he's picked up. Like, oh, he's picked up something, and he remembers something, and then we get a flashback of it. Or, he has a flashback, and then, oh, now that's part of his memory. It's very similar in this. He doesn't know who he is. see him quite say, oh, wait a second, now I remember this, but you can kind of figure out that's what's going on. So he's there to help with the science team. They have this whole plan to get to this sun and try to figure out what the hell's going on. At least, they don't know exactly what they're doing, what they're going to do when they get there, but they at least need to go and test these things. On this base, a freak accident happens and the science team blows up. And now they need a science person. And they go to him and he's like, no, I'm not an astronaut. I put the not an astronaut. And he's like, I can't do it. I'm sorry. And he keeps turning them down. And she's like, I'm very sorry it had to come to this. They chase him down and we realize that he was not brave. He did not go, like at one point I remember, he went for his students. And I feel like there was something where he went back to his students in the book. I could be wrong. But no, I kind of forgot about this until it was happening. I said, oh, wait a second. They forced him there against his own will. They put him in the coma and said, your country will thank you. The world will thank you. And he's like, no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And we do see a moment on the ship where I think he's realizing, oh, I wasn't meant for this. But guess what? He was, because while he's out there trying to figure out what's going on, he finds that he's the only person who survived. The other two astronauts, they didn't make it. Their like hibernation units opened up and they are both long dead. So he's kind of, at a loss, trying to figure out what the hell he's doing. What's he going to do when he gets there? What's going on? In fact, at one point he goes, oh, there's our sun. Then he looks at these star charts and he's like, oh, that's not our sun. Eey. Like, that was cool. It was a reveal in the book because you think, oh, wow, he's really close to the sun. This is, he's out there. This is what he's doing. No. He's nowhere near our sun. And I remember that as like a cool reveal in the book. One day, another ship just shows up and he's like, what the hell? And he realizes he's not there alone. We come to find out, long story short, that this planet is dealing with the same thing that Earth is dealing with. They sent a science team. They sent a group of scientists and astronauts, and everyone on this ship died except for one character, one little cool dude that Grace nicknames Rocky. It's a cool thing on how they establish language. They figure out a word, and they figure out like the Rocky alien makes these sounds, and this computer program can record the sound and give a word associated to it. So when it says the sound, the word is said. So he carries this computer around. After a while, they keep adding words. And, in the book, I think he's just reading everything. But in the movie, it gets to the point where this Rocky character can basically just speak English. They choose a voice for it, which was fun, as I said already. He can basically speak English. There is a moment in the story where they realize what they need to do. They realize that there's this planet that is, it has some sort of life on it, and the life on that planet is eating away at this astrophage and making it so that it's not eating away and taking energy from the sun. So it's this amoeba, right? Is that what it is? That they need to get. If they could get that and send that back to Earth and reproduce that, they'd have something to be able to destroy the astrophage and save the sun from getting worse. And that is a whole adventure that I remember in the book being this just frightening giant like set piece of action and daring adventure and risk taking and like it not quite working. And that's pretty much exactly how it goes in this. They need to get as close to this planet as possible to collect these things. But in doing so, they get sucked into the atmosphere of this planet and it almost rips the ship apart. At this point, they're on the same ship together because Rocky is awesome at building things and he's able to build himself suits and all these things to be able to survive in the Earth's atmosphere. He can recreate oxygen, but he cannot live in it. Grace lives in, obviously we live in oxygen, but it's a different, did they say ammonia? It's a lot warmer. It's a whole different, atmosphere that his species lives in. So, but they're on the ship together, and at a certain point, they need to, they need to decouple. Is that the right word? From this fuel tank that it's pulling them down. It's pulling them down. They're not getting out. They're not getting out of the orbit. And Grace gets knocked out. And Rocky's like smashing it, at his suit, at his little pen that he made for himself, his little containment system. And he ends up breaking through it and risking his life to shut off the thing and pull Grace to safety. And he's like all smoky and everything. And I just remember in the book, like really getting sad. And you think he's almost dead, but he just was hibernating and sleeping, very, very deep sleep. And then he finally heals, and it's wonderful. And they figured out that they have the means to save their planets. Now, the whole time Grace wasn't saying anything, and then he finally says to Rocky, it's a one-way trip for me. And he's like, no, you said you were going home. He goes, no, I'm not. And he goes, we don't have enough. We only had enough fuel to get here, not to get back. He's like, oh, finally. He's like, well, how much do you need? He's like, oh, I need 2 million units. He goes, okay, I'll give it to you. It's like, wait, what? He's like, it'll take me a little longer to get home, but it'll be fine. Like, I can't let you do that. He goes, no. We're saving each other. We're saving our world. We're saving each other. We're going home. You promised. We're doing this. And so, there's a really nice emotional moment where they're saying goodbye to each other, heading home, and on the way back, it's going to take it's going to take only 4 years to get back, I think. And on the way back, they're goodbye. They say goodbye forever. Thanks. I'll always remember you. I'll be right here. And there is an issue. We find out that this amoeba is, if certain air gets to it, or if there's a leak, something with this metal, it'll cause it to erode and not work. And this metal is the same thing, or this element is exactly what Rocky's ship is made out of. So now Grace is like, okay, I could go home and save everyone and myself, or I could save Rocky, because Rocky will not make it back to his planet and he will not save his people. So he decides to take all his findings, put them in these four little ships that are like little probes that are going back to Earth, each named for a beetle. And I remember that being more involved in the book. Like, I think he sent things back here and there. I don't think and then maybe the last one, I thought he sent things back throughout, but I could be wrong about that. Or one of them didn't work. I forget. There was something more with the probes, or whatever you call them, the anchors, the things that are going back to Earth. So he decides to. I'm sorry, I'm recounting the movie that you've already seen, but I loved it, so I'm just going through it again, and I'm enjoying myself. He decides to send everything back to Earth and say, sorry, Earth, I'm going to this planet. I'm going to Rocky's planet. He ends up finding Rocky, chasing Rocky down. They hug each other like, oh, you made it. I saved you. And obviously he can share his findings with them, and everyone gets back and saves his planet. We see him then. What happens at this point, and I'm pretty sure we never see, I don't remember. I could be completely wrong, but I thought we don't see Earth get the findings. We just assume they get it. I could be very, very wrong. But I'm glad they showed this in the movie. They showed an older, years have gone by, and the main woman, again, I don't remember her name, Sandra Hüller, she plays the role of Eva. Okay, so they show Eva. She's older now. She's got white hair. She's wrinkled. But we see her watching all the things between Grace and Rocky. So first of all, we know that now there's proof on other planets, and they have the means to save the world. And she's like, all right, everyone, let's begin. And there for a second, I thought, oh, that's how they're going to end the movie. It's a shame that we're not going to get the ending of the book. And then we see what happened to Grace. He wakes up. He's in some house, and he looks outside. There's a beach. Now, I don't remember if it was this much in the book. I don't know. But there's an ocean outside, and there's a knock on his door, and it's Rocky in a suit, in one of his suits. They built this entire area for Grace. This whole like oxygen filled with, he's like, the water temperature's a little cold. Then it was too hot. It's like, okay, I'll talk to Adrian about it. Adrian is Rocky's, partner, of course. That was the name that Grace gave to the sound that Rocky uses for his partner. They named the planet Adrian, and then they obviously she's a scientist too because she was working on the water temperature, and they're hanging out on this beach that they created this entire thing for Grace, and he goes, Grace, the scientists are almost ready to have you, the Hail Mary go back. That's the name of the ship too, to go back to Earth. He goes, to send you home. He's like, can I think about it? Because guess what? He is home. And then the final shot we see, because throughout the book, slow down, Mike, it's okay. Throughout the book, he keeps talking about how he's a teacher. He's a teacher. All he wants to do now is teach. All he cares about is teaching his students. And at the end of the book, and at the end of the movie, we see that he is teaching a classroom of students. He's teaching a classroom of this species of aliens. They're behind, the wall, so they're both on the same proper atmosphere. And you see, it was like in the book, it was like a classroom of claws all raised up, all put their hands up, their claws up, whatever it was. And I was just like, ooh, I was just like a blubbering mess. I've said that term blubbering mess multiple times. I texted it to my friend. I wrote it. I think I wrote in the description of this, and I'm saying it again because that's exactly what I was. And I was just like, oh my God, I don't want this book. I can't believe it's over. This is amazing. And he just wanted to be a teacher, and he is. And they did it. They friggin' did it at the end of the movie. And I was, it wasn't the same because I knew that was probably coming. But then when I see him walking on the beach, I thought, well, okay. And then all of a sudden we start seeing like what looks like things out of a classroom. I actually said out loud, they did it. Oh God, they did it. And then we see the classroom, and it was just like, oh, the ending. And the characters were great. The story is excellent. The visuals, that's, the acting was awesome, and the acting they get out of Ryan Gosling with a puppet, awesome. Give that to the directors, but also give the visuals to the directors. Yes, they're not the visual artists, but they were able to direct the visual artists to create this spectacular masterpiece of visual, just incredible space. You're in a certain area where it's just, you could just make it up. And there was just some scenes where the color is outstanding, the visuals, the planet, I don't know, everything. Even though Rocky said the planet was boring, you and I wouldn't think this planet is boring. It was just stunning, I think, everything about the look of this movie is stunning. There isn't a bad thing for me to say about this movie, and you will never hear me say a bad thing about this movie, because this might go up there as the, in an all-time capacity. It could possibly get that high. That's how much I loved this. And I don't rewatch a lot of movies. This is going to be added to that list of rewatchable, for me, rewatchable movies. Or there's plenty of movies that are rewatchable, movies that are actually rewatched. I'm looking forward to watching this movie again. I love this movie so much. It could have been a perfect day 1, and it could have been a perfect day 30. But day 30, I pretty much had locked in as far as schedule and timing and all that stuff. And I, at the beginning of this month, I don't think I realized this was going to be available. It only became available on the 18th of June, the 18th of movie month. So I've only had so many days to be able to watch this. And it's on, I said, MGM Plus. Now, what I forget about is it says this is an Amazon Studios production. And MGM Plus, like you see MGM at the beginning, you see the lion roar, but it says at the bottom, and it's still weird to see an Amazon company. MGM is owned by Amazon. Why is there an MGM Plus platform? Like, why isn't there just Amazon? Just put this on Prime or for everyone. Instead, there's another subscription that Amazon owns for another product that is just, wasn't this MGM Plus originally Reels? But I think I forgot that it's all owned by Amazon. Forgot that MGM owned Amazon. Like, is this where James Bond movies are going to be eventually someday? Is that are they keeping MGM for that kind of stuff? I don't know. But the fact that you had to go someplace else like MGM Plus, again, what? To find this, I'm glad I did. I'm glad that for services like Just Watch that were able to tell me, oh, this is where it is. This is where it's going to be. This movie it's too good for MGM Plus. Is that a terrible thing to say? Like, MGM Plus is lucky to have it. Amazon is lucky to have it. And we're lucky to have it. I'm gushing. When I looked up Lord and Miller, it says a couple things. It says that I guess they're directing Artemis, which is another Andy Weir book, which I think I already own a copy of. I think. But if not, I've seen it on the shelf at my library. I'm reading that at some point this year. Artemis is in my my reading list. It has to be. But I also saw that they're directing, or it says pre-production or in discussion or something about a quote-unquote untitled Project Hail Mary sequel. Now, IMDb could put anything. They could list anything. Again, who owns IMDb? Amazon. But not that that has anything to do with it. It could have been announced. It could have been mentioned. I don't know. Looking up Andy Weir, he is working on another book, his next book, but it is, he says it's obviously, it's another science fiction story. It's a standalone novel. It's not a sequel to anything else he's written. So if there's anything Project Hail Mary, as far as a sequel, he's not writing that now, at least according to this article. Does that mean it could be a surprise? Who knows? Does that, like, his name is listed, but it could be based on characters created by, so who knows exactly? I don't think I want a sequel, but of course I'd watch it, especially if we got Ryan Gosling back, and I will watch it. I don't want there to be, because this is a perfect movie, perfect book, perfect story. Everything's just neatly wrapped up in a bow, and I actually hope that it's not real. I hope it's not real, and I hope we just keep going on to something else. But then at the same time, if it is real and I get to see my friends again, okay, maybe I'll be into it. I don't know. I mean, I probably do know. I probably will be into it. That's just because, again, I wouldn't mind seeing what happens next with them. But again, if we don't, I'm not missing out on anything, because it was sublime. It was just splendid. It was exactly what I wanted it to be. And I'm just pleased as punch. If I want to see them again, I'll just watch the movie again or read the book again. But I think that's it. I think day 29 is done. I stood as close. I didn't get to see this in the movies, so I watched this on my my TV, and I pulled a chair up, like just a kitchen chair, about 2.5 feet away from the TV. I say, make me feel like the screen is as big as it possibly can be, and I just sat there and didn't feel uncomfortable. Didn't feel like I need to stretch or anything like that. It was just perfect, and watching it was just sublime. So that's it. Now I think I am done. But not done with movie month. Because as excellent as this movie is, and if this was a day 30, it would have been just a perfect ending. There's still one more to go. Tomorrow. Will you be there? I know I will be. But until then, you can follow me on all the socials at Geek Mentality, except, of course, TikTok, which is Geek Mentality Mike. The Facebook page is Fans Not Experts. The YouTube channel is Fans Not Experts. That's because the website, where every single one of these podcasts and blog posts are found, is fansnotexperts.com. gmail.com. That is it. This is, if I'm doing the calculation, this is movie 389 of Movie Month. And we have one more tomorrow. I hope you'll be there. But until then, thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. And here is my theme song.
This is my podcast, I made it. Geek Mentality's what I named it. And I think you should listen and subscribe. 'Cause I'm kinda funny and awesome. I think that I'm worth your time, and I'm kinda handsome. My mom says, please listen and please subscribe. At least listen to this episode.
Fans not experts.